question was, do the Japanese still need God on a practical level? Aren't they already in a pretty good place with their philosophical and spiritual principles? Obviously, I could mention the high suicide rate, the mental health problems. For example, hikikomori, which practically means you are pulling yourself away from society and stay in one room for the whole day. The pressure the kids are facing, the extreme bullying, the family breaking down, and the loneliness. But there are similar problems in South Africa. Maybe these problems are just different in degree, not in kind. If things look as if it's working on the surface, why are we still so firmly convinced of our calling to Japan? Timothy Keller, the American theologian who died in 2023, wrote Counterfeit Gods. And in this book, he states that our hearts are idol factories. We all have standards which we set up for ourselves. If we reach this standard or this goal, then we are okay. Then we can accept ourselves. Then we are made right. We are righteous. Or others will accept us and approve of us. This standard becomes our mini-God. If we have it, then we are okay. This is the first thing we think of in the middle of the night. Our thoughts naturally turn to it. And it is also the thing we fear the most will be taken away from us. It can be money, or our jobs, or family, reputation, some kind of achievement. And to reach this standard takes effort, a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice. We all fall into this trap, even if we know the good news. Even if we have accepted Jesus fully as our personal Savior, we put something before God. We start each day with our personal security resting not on the accepting love of God and the sacrifice of Christ, but on our present feelings or recent achievements. Our foundation, therefore, is vulnerable. It is soft sand which cannot resist the storms of life. Timothy Keller compares a life which has not used God as its foundation with pulling a wagon without wheels. It's not impossible. You can add all kinds of tricks to make it easier. You can take breaks for a breather. You can add padding to your shoulders. You can listen to music to inspire you. You can meditate. But it takes all of your strength and energy. And in moments of clarity, you feel a vague unease, anxiety, fear, emptiness. Everything is just not right. And eventually, especially if you hit the ditch, your wagon will fall apart. Many times this happens exactly at the moment when you have attained what you were running after, and you find yourself empty and alone. It is ironic that the epistle written to the Galatians is for the church. It was written to already saved Christians. But the Christians from Galatia, just like us, have started to chain themselves with a lot of rules and efforts to save themselves. The gospel plus good works. The gospel plus follow these rules. And even with the knowledge of Jesus, they become yet again slaves, just like us. And that is why Paul writes in Galatians 5 verse 1, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery." And the Japanese? Without doubt, in Japan, it is significant how much it depends on yourself to do what is expected from you through self-discipline and hard work and sacrifice, according to your position in society, according to the innumerable rules, written and so many more unwritten, and etiquette and manners which determine whether you are correct or okay in the eyes of others, whether you can approve of yourself and whether they approve of you. so much more do they, who actually, especially because of their seemingly good habits, so much more do they need to hear about Jesus, who truly frees us from all the chains. Christ came to set us free, to be truly free. The Christian faith is the only religion or even worldview in which you can do nothing to save yourself or make yourself righteous. And it doesn't matter how hard you are trying, or how disciplined you are, or how good you are. That is not what determines your salvation. To the contrary, it is when you come to the realization how desperately you need Jesus, how all your efforts mean absolutely nothing, and when you stretch your hand with nothing to give. Only then you will experience the peace and hope which are not from this world. For the Japanese, they are okay when they have done what society is expecting. For us, we have made it if we follow our own dreams, often in spite of all the expectations or pressure of people around us. Both us and the Japanese are putting our hope in a God which will ultimately disappoint. But there is actually a difference between us and Japan, between the Western world, South Africa, the rest of the West, and Japan. The difference between us and the Japanese is that we here in South Africa and in the rest of the West, we still have the very real possibility of being constantly reminded of the idols we are worshipping rather than the living God. Churches and Christians are still part of the culture in South Africa and in the West. In Japan, people are also seeking, but the opportunity to find is so much less. Japanese mostly truly have no idea what the good news is about, even though they study about the historical Jesus in the textbooks. But it is like reading about Julius Caesar. And that is why we know we should be in Japan. To be a bridge for the Japanese to the church whenever God is calling someone to Him. A bridge to the light that frees us all from our pointless efforts of trying to save ourselves. To be free indeed, that is the type of peace we are trying to testify about. And if you hear God's clear voice for you to join us in sharing the gospel after hearing this talk, I invite you to contact Mission Japan. It is a very difficult and challenging decision to make to go to Japan as a missionary. It is not glamorous. It is humiliating. You will feel like a little helpless baby again. You will have to submit yourself to the Japanese church and follow their guidance and rules. And usually it is a pretty long-term missionary call. You do not learn Japanese in 1 year. We, after 16 years, are still studying the language. However, if God calls you, He will also provide you with the patience, the resources, and the strength and wisdom, because He can bless your calling immeasurably more than all we can ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. Thank you.